Assalamu alaikum and welcome to British Muslim TV here with your show Single Muslim Live. And I'm your host, Fahima Mohammad, your relationship coach. I just want to welcome everyone who is streaming from different platforms, whether it's Facebook, Sky TV, Instagram, Twitter, and inshallah, we will also have live call-ins, which is at the standard network rate. And the numbers at the bottom of your screen, 01924 231 083. So today we're going to be talking about empowering relationships. And I have an amazing guest with me to assist with any of your questions and also have discussion to help you sort of improve your relationships. I have with me Farzana Akhter. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, sister? It's lovely to be here.
Alaikum salam. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. I thought you weren't connected for a minute.
That's what I thought.
No, but I'm so happy to have you on board. You know, we spoke about this before, and it's really, really dear to my heart to actually have this sort of topic to help the existing singles out there, especially with regards to empowering themselves, that they can be confident within their relationships. Tell me a little bit about what you do to help people with empowerment.
Okay. I work with sisters mainly, married sisters. And sometimes we come across situations where there's a bit of a power struggle within the relationship. And as we go deeper into connecting and talking to each other, we sometimes find out that there's a lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-belief, and all these things play into, how it affects their relationship. So, and then, alhamdulillah, we work on that. So we'll work on that, and alhamdulillah, in many cases where sisters have been sent to divorce, that will be retracted.
Okay, so I know that we have a viewers which is male and female. So this is for everybody. And inshallah, we can give you some tips. When you say that you have systems coming to you to feel empowered, what are some of the case studies and examples that you have?
Okay, there was one case study where a sister was really struggling with she was grieving for her mom, and she didn't realize that that was affecting her relationship with her husband. So there was situations where he would talk to family, or she'll feel that he's connecting more with his family and he's not connecting with her. So we worked on that, and alhamdulillah, within 2 sessions, she was completely different, and she was like, wow, this is amazing. And it was just about taking her back.
Absolutely. That's the wonderful thing about coaching, is that we actually help so many individuals overcome any challenge and everyday challenges. And I think we need to be more aware of assistance outside family members and friends, especially for professionals like ourselves. And again, I want to sort of welcome anyone who's, watching. Please do call in with any questions and queries that you have on this topic. I know there's a lot of people out there, whether they've had previous relationships or they're looking for new relationships first time round, that they lack maybe self-confidence, self-esteem from maybe even talking to somebody and it hasn't worked out, or whatever issues they have. This is the platform where you need to be. And we are here as coaches. Unfortunately, we're not matchmakers, so we don't introduce people to other people, which is what most people ask us. And I want to just make that clear. We have the SingleMuslim.com platform. And that's where you can actually find, and we are sponsored by SingleMuslim.com, which is an amazing platform, so that we can actually, have all of you, hopefully sign up, and you can actually find your potential partner. But we're here to help you with yourself. Potentially you can, download it at this very moment, and you can, easily find and look, for someone who is potentially your partner. So again, as we are sort of making people aware of coaching, which is really, really vital, I want to talk more about how people feel disempowered and how can that affect them looking for a partner.
Okay. sometimes what we end up doing is when we're looking for a partner, we have this dream in our mind of what that could be like, or what our relationship's going to be like, and
Hmm.
this story in our head kind of plays over time, and we end up picking someone who we believe that is the perfect spouse. And what we don't realize is that on many times that's not a true reality. That's
Yeah.
just a dream, a story which you've made up in your mind. As well as if you were, picking the other person, they will also have this ideal story in their mind, and they'll
Hmm.
believe at the time that you will fulfill that dream or fulfill that story. And it's like we become the authors of our own life, not realizing that there's the reality aspect of things where you will face, conflicts. You will face these bumps in the road that you're going to have to deal with. And I think sometimes that
Hmm.
when that dream comes crashing down, we then believe that this is not the ideal relationship for us, and we tend to separate, not just physically, but we end up giving each other the silent treatment, or we're just broken because our ideal dream hasn't been fulfilled, something which the
That
other
is
spouse
so
cannot
true.
fulfill.
Absolutely. I think as you're talking, I am writing some notes down, obviously, because it's really important. And I do urge the viewers who are watching to do the same, because these are really powerful sort of like things that we're talking about that we discuss in our private sessions. And you're getting it here live on British Muslim TV with professional coaches. So I just want to say that, this highlights the point of limiting beliefs. We all have them. And we all come with our own story. And it's really important that we understand ourselves first. First of all, we did come across, bringing up about awareness about the individual. Now we need to know about loving ourselves and how we think about ourselves and how we know ourselves. And I think that's what people need to understand, what empowerment means, because that can be projected to the other. So, your relationship, for example, these are three main things that I would like to highlight. First is your relationship with your creator, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with the other. These are the first, primary and important factors I think that we need to consider, and that can really help you sort of find the other partner. And I just want to also shout out to everybody that's watching from Uganda. There are loads of people from around the globe, and I'm feeling absolutely amazing right now to know that we're reaching people from all over. And I thank you so much. Again, if you do want to call in, the number is 01924231083. This is Single Muslim Live on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. And if you do want to find your spouse, you can definitely download the app as soon as, you're as you're watching, or as soon as the show's over, whichever. I do recommend that. That's the best platform that people do find each other. So as we were talking before, the relationship we have with ourselves, a lot of us don't consider that. We do actually feel that we have to find the other first and look for qualities in them first. What's your thoughts on that, Farzana?
I think where the kind of misconception lies is where we believe we can marry someone and then change them. We can't
Yes.
change anybody, and I come across that a lot. You'll get I'll have brothers getting in touch as well at times, and they'll want to change their wives, or the wives will want to change the husband, or on some occasions there have been single sisters or single brothers get in touch, and they want this ideal person, and it's like there is no ideal. If you yourself are not ideal, you yourself don't understand oneself, then how can you then believe that you're going to find this ideal person? So that's
Sure.
something I think it's a big misconception, that I am able to change someone else, or I as a
Absolutely.
wife can change my husband, or a husband can change the wife.
That's a very important point. But before we continue with that, we do have a caller online, Mustafa. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alaikum salam. Thank you so much for calling in. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I have my friend, his name, Mia Said. He is not believe me. I say for he want to looking for a woman, Muslim woman, want to marry.
Okay. And what sort of steps have you taken so far to find somebody?
Sorry?
what have you done so far in order to find that partner?
All right, he lives here in UK. Yorkshire.
Okay, I understand. Right. So again, as I was saying, that we are Single Muslim, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com, which is an amazing app that you can go on to find that spouse. And right now we are having a discussion with regards to helping individuals like yourself and the cousin that you have to empower yourselves to try different ways of looking within so that you can find the other partner. Again, I have a lot of callers that do actually, and comments that people are saying, I'm looking for somebody, and it's actually not working. Whatever sort of methods I'm using, it's actually not working. What's your thoughts on that? Because I think, again, we sort of like project with regards to the environment around us, with regards to there's not enough, our potential spouses out there. What are your thoughts on that? It's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your call, by the way, Brother Mustafa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Sister Farzana, what do you think of that? Because, a lot of young men are finding it very difficult to find their spouses. And what would be the steps that they need to take?
I think, first of all, they have to understand what they're looking for. As some brothers, they'll want sisters who are professionals, and then they want them to be housewives. And most professional sisters are professionals because they never wanted to become a housewife. Not in all cases, but in some cases that's true. So I think, first of all, brothers or sisters both have to get it right. That, if you're going to marry someone, you have to understand their background. You have to understand not just the job that they do, but, their culture, their beliefs, their values. There has to be some sort of match there for you to actually fulfill each other's, fulfill the relationship. So I think that's the first step to understanding that if I want someone who wants to be a housewife, I can't expect her to go out and work. So there has to be that balance of understanding, what do I really want? It's not a matter of, okay, this sister's available, she seems fine, we'll work this out later on, because that's a recipe for disaster in the first place.
Yes, so we have changed. What would be your top tips on, empowerment?
Empowerment is, when we say empowerment, it's not just about ourselves. It's empowering the other individual to be who they are. We cannot, then believe that I can, mold you into something else, or even suppress that individual's personality or suppress that individual themselves, because over time that individual will lose themselves and they'll just end up a shell, and nobody wants that. I think no one wants that. So and there are sisters that have been through that they've just lost their identity. There's brothers that have been through that have lost their identity, and it's so difficult for that individual then to move on to a new relationship that it becomes a struggle. And, one person's struggle is not just one person's struggle. It affects many people. And I think that's something that we have to understand, that marriage is not just an overnight thing. It's not just, okay, this person will do. There's more to that. And it's a serious step that you're going to take in your life.
That is so true. I think what you highlighted is so important. And even in our faith, empowerment is, encouraged a lot. We have got, sort of role models like, Khadija radiallahu anha, who is an amazing woman. And she was obviously someone who is, shows women that, we can be empowered, we can have position. And I think, sometimes our cultures get mixed up with even today's meaning of relationships. And we are actually not on par even with our faith. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a big one. I'm happy that you mentioned that one, because culture seems to be overpowering religion. And I think that's something we really, really have to work on. As Muslims, we have to stick to Islam and not add culture to it, because culture does not come into anywhere in Islam. There is no such thing as, there's a hierarchy within the relationship. As husband and wife, we're equal. There is no, the wife is better than the husband, or the husband's better than the wife. we work as a team because we're raising the next generation. If we cannot work as a team, then the generations after us are just going to suffer, and they already are suffering. There are, children and parents that are in, facing turmoil in their life because things are not the way they should be, and culture seems to overpower religion. I think that's extremely important.
It's so important that we're having this discussion. And again, I want to thank everyone that's watching so far. We are approaching a break very shortly, but please do stay tuned, and we are taking calls. The numbers at the bottom of your screen, 01924231083. We are going to continue after the break. Please do stay tuned. And I think it's really important that we do associate the fact that even though Islam is part of Islam is part of our, deen of, finding that spouse, but we cannot overtake it by not understanding ourselves and our real meaning behind it. Because now, as you so amazingly have highlighted, that it's not just about empowerment even within ourselves, but also the other. And if we have respect for ourselves, then we can show respect to the other, whether or not they come from a particular, caste or background or profession or anything like that. So it's really, really important that you say that. And again, I do urge people to call in, and we are going to go to a break on British Muslim TV, but we're going to continue live on Instagram. So please do stay tuned, and we will continue the conversation. Inshallah, we will see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I'm your host, Fahima Mohammad, your relationship coach. And with me discussing empowering relationships is Sister Farzana Akhter. Assalamu alaikum. I just want to remind you that we have an amazing marriage coach here who is going to help us with regards to this topic, which is very powerful. And actually, before we go into the questions, I have another caller online. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Welcome to British Muslim TV. You're live on Single Muslim Live.
Thank you. I just had a question to ask about a marriage and a situation. Say if something's been sorted out, but you still have a lot of questions in your head, should you ask your husband or your wife, or should you just leave it?
Okay, that's a very
no.
Okay, let me just reflect back what you just said. So the sister mentioned basically that if you have resolved your situation and but you still have some sort of like queries in your mind, should you revisit that or should you ignore it? Is there anything else that you'd like to say with regards to what your question was, sister?
No, so far I just want to know whether you should, or whether it would be, or should you just revisit it and ask maybe in a different tone, or when situation's calm, or should you just completely ignore it and think that you've revisited, you've done the situation, you've looked at it, you've apparently resolved it, but then later on it would still questions you still have, or should you just leave it and go with the flow?
Okay, thank you so much for that. What are your thoughts on that, Farzana?
Okay. In some cases, when we've resolved an issue with the spouse, what happens is it gives us an opportunity to understand ourselves. So if there's something still niggling at you, you have to understand what is it that's going on inside me as an individual, and why is this really, really showing up? It shows up as a red flag in the sense of if there's something within me which I am, because sometimes when we're in a relationship, our beliefs from previous beliefs will come into it. So if we've experienced something in the past and it matches up with that, we tend to join it with that, and then we predict what's going to happen. And I think that's one of the red flags to kind of understand, okay, why am I predicting what I'm predicting, or why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? What do I need to look internally? If it's been resolved in the right way, then you have to look into yourself and understand, hang on a minute, what's going on within me that's causing me to feel this way. An example I can give is you know, if you're out with your spouse, many sisters approach me that, you know, when I'm out with my spouse or even brothers, my wife's looking at someone or my husband's looking at someone, and that becomes an issue in a relationship. And
so what steps do you think she should take with regards to this issue of her having some sort of thoughts that she should address or not address? And if she needs to address it, which direction should she go to address this kind of like, you know, thought process?
Okay, first of all, I think she should approach a professional, get herself a professional coach, because mashallah, you know, they do amazing work. So that's the first step. If things are not being resolved, because there is a danger that if something's resolved and you keep on digging at it, it will become a bigger problem. And that's what we don't want. So depending on how it was resolved and what's going on internally with herself, I think it's one of those things that is quite deep and it needs work. And if she can't approach someone that she knows and she doesn't feel comfortable, then the best thing to do is approach someone like yourself or myself, whichever she would like.
Absolutely. There's lots of professionals out there. Definitely. Sister, was there any other questions you'd like to add to that or anything more?
No, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your call. We really appreciate everybody that's calling in, that's commenting, that's watching from around the globe. And again, the number is at the bottom of your screen, 0192423183. Inshallah, we'll get more sort of like calls. But we do have another comment from Instagram with regards to how to choose your partner. Is that from Sharina Gar? So basically, how would you go about choosing your partner? And that is a very, very wide question. And obviously, it depends on many, many factors. What are your thoughts on that, Farzana?
I think, first of all, your values have to match. We all have values, you know, of what we're willing to accept, or what the top priorities on our list. You know, teamwork, going out together, or working as, you know, building a family. There's all sorts that come into values. So we have to understand what are my values and what are the values of the other individual. And if those values don't match up, they don't have to be exactly the same, but somewhere there has to be at least, I think, 5 of those should match. For you to.
It's interesting you say that because, it's interesting you say that because a lot of us, you know, we know our values. And again, like you said, we should ask, you know, and find out the other person's value. How would you go about finding out those values? Because it's easy to list words, but isn't it more deeper than that?
It is deeper. It's like cultural values. That's another one. You know, there's so many, but let's just say it's a cultural value. In some cultures, it may be acceptable to sit within family, male and female. And yet, on the other side, it'll be unacceptable. And there will be, even though Islam encourages to, you know, to sit separately, but when it comes to family, there's a bit of a friction there where some families may think, no, it's fine if we're mixing. And, you know, where the Gair Mahrams are mixing as well. And on the other side, there might be someone who completely disagrees to that. So we have to understand, okay, am I willing to accept this? Can I actually, will that fulfill my needs in the sense, if my family comes around and, you know, we're still separated, is there a point of them coming to visit? So it's like little things like that.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
Definitely. We do have another caller online. It's anonymous. Assalamu alaikum.
It's like little things like that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Definitely. Could you mute your TV, please, so that I can hear you? Assalamu alaikum. What would you like to say? Alaikum salam. What would you like to say? Could you mute your TV, please, so that I can hear you? Assalamu alaikum. What would you like to say? Can you hear me?
I'm really sorry, yeah, but, you know, the thing both of you are chatting on there, yeah, it's just like, I wouldn't say it's rubbish, but we all know about this.
Okay, if you know about that, that's brilliant. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know, and we are getting a lot of calls and comments.
Why are you misguiding all the other Muslim sisters out there?
And elaborate for me, please. What is the misguidance? What is the misguidance? Is it because Muslim women are being empowered?
The previous sister on the phone, yeah, you misguided her. What is a marriage coach? Have you got any qualifications?
Absolutely. That's why we're here, sitting here as professionals, and that's what I've always said from the beginning.
Have you got a certificate of a marriage coach? What is a marriage coach?
Absolutely. What do you know about empowerment, sir? Can you maybe explain to the viewers with your knowledge?
My sister, I am educated, okay?
Yes, and so are we, with certificates as well on many levels.
All right. What is a marriage coach? Have you got a certificate of a marriage coach?
Absolutely. There is one. There are relationship coaches out there. There are marriage coaches out there.
Okay. Does the Quran Park say about marriage coach? What is a marriage coach?
Sorry? Does who say?
The Quran Park or the Hadith.
You know what? Our religion is amazing with regards to knowledge and deen. And at the end of the day, knowledge and Islam and faith has evolved over time.
Have you got a marriage coach sitting there in the Quran Park? What is a marriage coach?
Well, we do have what reference, we are referencing to Islamic role models.
No. You misguided the sister in the last call. Okay. So where have you got, Farzana? I'm really sorry, my sister, yeah. But how have you become a marriage coach? Have you got a certificate? Does the Quran Park say marriage?
Oh, so every job has to be according to what the Quran says. I mean, at the end of the day, I really appreciate your call, and I really, really do appreciate everything that you've said right now. And I will take that on board, and we will answer your question. But at the end of the day, I would like to sort of say that I've sat alongside many scholars, and they do have counselors, marriage coaches, relationship coaches, in order to help people move forward. And everything is there with regards to deen, Islam, and faith. And it's quite, the example of what we see today, because apparently, there are different opinions, and those are the caller that we have, unfortunately, are the views of many men out there. And this is the problem that we're having today. And I'm so happy that this is a live show, because we're not here to be shying away from anything. And I do appreciate your call. Thank you so much for calling anonymously. We are here with our names, with our certificates, with our backgrounds, and we're not hiding away. So thank you so much for your call, and I appreciate that. And no one's being misguided. A coach does not give any sort of advice. We guidance coaches to help you through your own beliefs and systems, and we can help individuals. And we've seen very, very successful outcomes from this. And unfortunately, if you have your perspective, you are so well to do so, and we appreciate your way of thinking. What is your thoughts on that, Sister Farzana?
Well, I think everybody has their opinion, and
we do have another caller. We have a sister on line once before we come to you back. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Please, asal English saamdi ko liya gal karaoge zara Farzana da.
I'm really, really sorry, but I do not understand your language. If you can speak in English, I would appreciate that.
English is anni naam di jehdi Farzana odra Urdu ch gal kar sakne please.
I'm sorry. Do you understand? Because I don't. It's only English on this program. Sorry, it's for most of our.
1 minute, please. My daughter.
Okay.
It's Zinda to walk. Vayo banda jehda ki aada si vai Farzana naam Urdu ch gal kar Farzana.
Okay. Do you want to mention hello?
Farzana.
Okay, you can speak to the sister Farzana if you want. Go ahead with your call, with your question.
Okay. Yes, please. Yes, hello. Are you speak Urdu? No.
No, we are an English-speaking program and English only, and unfortunately, I don't understand the language.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, we are an English-speaking program. Next caller on line 2. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for calling in. What would you like to say?
Basically, I'm watching your program. Alhamdulillah, you're doing a good job. My call, basically, I had to make a phone call because that guy that came on before me, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not educated in the field that you're educated in.
Okay, I mean, I do appreciate everyone's call, and I appreciate you calling that, and I'm not here to make any judgments, even if people are judging me. This is views on empowerment, and at the end of the day, we respect everyone's views. So what are your views on empowerment and, on the show so far? What else would you like to say?
Basically, I think when it comes to Asian guys, I think a lot of people are they have the back home mentality where they don't understand like that sisters nowadays, they are educated, they are helping sisters, and they're listening to sisters, because a lot of marriages have broken down, and that's where you need a coach, someone that is like an mediator or something. And just because it's not in the Quran and the Hadith, and how does a brother not know it's in the Quran and Hadith? Is he a muhaddith?
No, I mean, I totally understand. Yeah, no, I understand that, and he's not here, to be fair, to reply. Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, basically, hold on, let me just turn the TV volume down because I think I'm hearing myself.
That's no problem, we're waiting.
Yeah, so basically, what the guy was doing was he was getting very defensive before he was even letting you finish. All he kept saying was that, sister, are you certified? Are you certified? If he doesn't know that you're certified or not, why is he questioning you? It clearly says your name, Fahima Mohammad, SingleMuslim.com coach. Go Google it. You can see your name. I've got you on Facebook anyway. Sister Farzana Akhter, marriage coach. It says on TV clearly.
Yes.
Well, the British Muslim TV will not allow people that are not qualified.
We have the other brother online. Would you like to have him, speak with you?
I don't think, to be honest, that person is worthy of my time, because he can't have a discussion with you guys. So how is he going to have a discussion with me?
Okay.
That person is worthy of my time, because he can't have a...
No, you're not worthy of my time because you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, look, we all have our opinions, and I really appreciate it all. And if you do want us to clarify, we are trained, and there are professional bodies out there that can actually verify that, if that's what your question is. And secondly, this is not a debate show, but it's really, really appreciative that we have, all your views that are here. We are very fair and just in hearing not just what we want to hear, but everyone's views. So I thank you very much, both of your calls, and I appreciate all of your comments and questions. And even if it's our own credibility, I honestly am open to it. Like the brother said, we are there on, YouTube, Google, Facebook, everywhere where you can actually download what our credentials are. Again, I just want to say thank you so much, Farzana, for being patient. And this is part of the show where we are inviting callers to call in, and I do appreciate everybody. And please do continue to call in. And thank you all from wherever you're watching on whichever platform that is. So again, what was your thoughts, Farzana, on everything that's just happened so far? There's so much. You tell me what you're thinking right now, and just let's go for it.
Okay, I think like you said, everybody has an opinion, and because this is relatively new, 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was no such thing as a marriage coach, and now
Absolutely.
all of a sudden sisters have cropped up claiming they're marriage coaches. So it will take time for brothers and sisters and the past generations to get used to the idea. We're not here to break up relationships. We're here to empower relationships. And I think that may be a confusion. It may be a confusion that we're here to encourage sisters to walk away from a marriage. That's not our mission here. We're here to empower the brother and the sister within our relation. And, alhamdulillah, this is something that Islam encourages, to bring two people together. And
Exactly.
I think the danger is when you're not qualified and you go to family to, if you've got a problem in your marriage and you get somebody who's not qualified, they will end up actually destroying that relationship, because they will be biased in what they say. They may take the side of the brother, or they may take the side of the sister, and everything just becomes emotional. And because we're trained in what we are, We do not bring emotion into this. It's got nothing to do with our own life. It's got nothing to do with our relationships. This is what we've studied. This is what we've become qualified in. And this is how we empower individuals. It's not about giving advice that whether you should leave the relationship or whether you should stay in a relationship. That's something that the sister or the brother has to decide for themselves. And as we work with the brother or the sister along the time of, say, 6, 10, 15, 20 sessions, 6 months or 12 months working with them, they will realize that what they want. And on some occasions, it might be it's better to walk away to save their children from heartache. And in some cases, it might be a big turnaround where they've now understood why their spouse was behaving the way they were, and they have a deeper understanding of it. So it's not just about we're here to destroy relationships. And I think that may be a misconception in some cases.
Absolutely. No, thank you for saying that. We have another sister on line 1. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I spoke to the sister a moment ago, and a brother came on after me saying that the sister misguided me. And can I just clear, actually, it's given me food for thought, and I think that brother needs to understand what empowering the word actually means. So maybe look it up in the dictionary. Empowering doesn't just mean, you're leaving a relationship or you are questioning it. Empowering means empowerment within yourself to either stay in the marriage, whether that's to leave a marriage or whether that's to continue it or find ways to resolve it. Empowering has many, many meanings, and it's your own understanding of that gives you thoughts that you either question someone on TV or other people's opinions. So in terms of somebody misguiding me, I think I'm a strong enough individual to know what's right and wrong. But yes, someone else's opinion does give you food for thought, and maybe that person should just go and find out exactly what empowerment means before you comment on, what somebody else is saying. But I do appreciate everything that the sister said, and it definitely has given me food for thought.
Thank you so much for your call. I really appreciate you calling back. We have another caller online. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? You're live.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. What would you like to say?
I am Muslim, Lubna.
Mm-hmm.
And I need my son is 27 years old.
Okay.
He lives Portugal. Hello.
Sorry, I think we lost the caller. Sorry. If you are looking, again, the platform SingleMuslim.com, if you want to download the app, that's where you can actually find someone if you're looking for your son. What else would you like to say?
I require is a Muslim girl. He's married, my son.
Yes.
My son is a student, Portugal. And I am living in the UK.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's very difficult for parents now who have, children that, are of a certain age and they have an expectation for them. And, it's very difficult to find. But like I said, again, this is the platform for helping individuals with regards to, dealing with relationship issues, not necessarily matchmaking. That's for SingleMuslim.com app and other platforms. But inshallah, we wish you well. And hopefully you do find somebody for your son. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I can't understand your I speak English not well.
No, I understand you. I understand that, the English is not, your first language, but yeah. I did understand what you meant. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Really appreciate all the people that are calling, parents, aunties, married, singles, everybody that's, out there that's supporting and watching. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your call. Farzana, what are your thoughts on, families, on the caller that's, speaking right now, as well as the previous ones?
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Is that family looking for a spouse for their child, etc.? I think the family has to listen to the person who's finding the spouse. In some cases, the families try to put an ideal of their own onto what's good for their son or what's good for their daughter. And I think that's detrimental to any relationship, because it's those two individuals that are going to live together and grow together. And there is no way that we as individuals, whether that we're parents, aunties, sisters, uncles, know what's best for the other individual. Yeah, we can guide them in the sense that, you know, this is a better direction to go in, but if they don't agree to it, then we shouldn't force it, because on many, you know, over the years, we've seen that relationships have ended after 10 or 15 years due to that mistake, where parents have believed that this person is right for my child, or a sister's believed, no, you should, you know, marry this girl. So I think that's something that we have to look into and be extremely careful what direction we're leading our loved ones in.
But to be fair, don't you think that some parents have the concerns because maybe their children are of a certain age? Islam does, promote the fact that they should be married, especially early on. And as we are discussing these issues right now, because there are problems around in this Western world, in this day and age, around relationships. So how can they maneuver around the challenges around this issue of, you know, people that are not actually willing to get married at a particular age, or they're not actually finding the spouse? What are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, of course, we're empowering relationships right now. But again, there's the other side of it, because there's a lot of pressure on being married. So how do you sort of balance that?
Okay, first we have to understand, if there is someone that is just refusing to get married, we have to understand why. Because in many cases now, recently, that I've come across, there are children saying that because I've witnessed my brother's relationship or my sister's relationship or my parents' relationship go the way it has done, then I'm not going to get married at all. So that's one of the dangers, in the sense, you know, if you don't understand why that child is saying no, then, you know, you need to find a way of understanding what's actually going on in their head and why they're refusing to get married. And it is important for, you know, our child to get married, but you know, like Islam advises us that, you know, there's an age where you ask your child, and, you know, if you've actually asked your child on a number of occasions that, you know, look, son or daughter, here's the person that I've selected for you, what do you think? And they've refused, and on a couple of occasions you've done that, then the responsibility lies with that child. Even though we cannot move away from that as parents, we cannot just let our child be, which in some cases is wrong, where you just neglect the child and say, right, off you go and you go choose whoever you want. I think it's important for the parent to be involved to some extent, but not to the extent where that child will end up doing something that they later on regret.
Sure. We did have a caller online. Unfortunately, we lost him. Please do call back and we will actually take your call. We also have a question that was around by Zeni Zainab, who is asking for marriage coaching. Does the husband and wife have to be there? I mean, personally, I'm a relationship and couples coach, and both couples are not, you know, necessarily having to be there. It is, you know, it just depends on the coach, the individual coach, as far as I know. What is your experience on that, with regards to the husband and wife being there at the actual session?
It's good if a coach can provide that service, then that's excellent. But in most cases, I've noticed that brothers don't want to have that approach. I think there's a lot of misconception in it. That, you know, if I do go to a counselor or a coach, I'm classed as someone who's not clever enough to keep their relationship together. I think that's a misconception in itself. And no, you don't really need to go as a couple, because it's about empowerment. It's about understanding yourself, about understanding what's happening in your relationship, and also what's happening within yourself. Because on many occasions, sisters have come to me and they've worked on themselves and they've turned their relationship around. So it doesn't just have to be you know, a couple. It can be, you can go to a coach on your own.
That's so true. That's so true. I mean, personally, I have had couples coming to me and they've come together, and then they've also had sessions where they would do couple sessions and they'll do individual sessions. So there are options out there depending on the coach that you choose, and just be, you know, asking questions so that it serves you well, because there's many coaches out there with various niches. And yes, we study the mind, and, you know, so basically, for I know a lot of people are querying about the qualifications on being a coach, and I can tell you there are coaches out there that don't have qualifications, but professionally myself, I am qualified, and I bring professional and qualified guests on my show. So at the end of the day, there are many coaches out there that have qualifications and some don't. And at the end of the day, they are from certified training. So what are your thoughts, Farzana, on people querying about the coaching industry and the qualifications around it?
I think there can be a slight danger if somebody is not qualified, because if they don't understand the mind, they don't understand the individual, then in some cases it could be detrimental to that person not understanding the psychology behind them or why they're doing what they're doing. So, and in some cases there are people that are not qualified and they do an amazing job, but that's up to the individual themselves who they pick to be their coach. So it's not necessarily that you have to go with someone who's not qualified. If you prefer someone who's qualified, then by all means go out and check their credentials and make sure they're accredited in whatever you want. But in some cases, people prefer coaches that are not qualified because they can relate to them. And some people don't feel comfortable because they feel that their coach is overqualified and they can't relate to them. So it's all about that relatability as well to a coach or a mentor or a counselor, whoever it is. Because if you don't have that connection with your coach or your mentor, then it's not going to work anyway.
It is more than the qualification, absolutely. It's the rapport. It's so many things, the trust, because everything is private, confidential. There is an associate body as well that does overlook this. It is actually a sort of, first step towards basically seeing any basically, I think that there's lots of certified marriage coaches out there and they can actually help you. And it's the step where you would take before even seeking counseling, where it can be detrimental because maybe some people wait too long. So this is for everyday people with everyday challenges, which is really powerful. And if you qualified normally as a coach, you have many other sort of qualifications around it, like yourself. You've got the NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and it is understanding the mind, the body, as well as, the habits of the human. So at the end of the day, and to transform those habits into something that can serve you. So, we do need to bring and create more awareness about coaching. And that's why the show was created with, experts and professionals in order to give that advice, which people don't think they even have that option out there. And I do appreciate you actually, taking on these calls, and I appreciate all the callers as well with your queries. It's really important that we do highlight that we're not hiding away and shying away from what's happening around us. And there are very successful sort of stories that come out of it. If there's any sort of last takeaways that, you'd want to add, it's come towards slowly the end of the show, but, we still got a few more minutes. It's gone so quickly. And thank you again for everyone that's watching and commenting and posting, all your questions up there. So what are your takeaway for people that feel they need to work on themselves more about feeling empowered with their relationships, and what are the steps that they could take, that they could take away today, really?
Okay. I think that there's quite a few things that they can work on, but understanding when they feel an emotion in a relationship, or just generally if they feel emotion, they have to understand where that emotion is coming from. Is it a memory that they've connected to the current situation that's then causing them the feelings, and therefore the outcome will be of what they've experienced previously? So, for example, if you've been in an abusive relationship or any relationship, and that relationship hasn't worked out for you, are you then bringing those ideals into your current situation? Are you then believing that has happened to me before, and now this individual is going to cause that pain again? Because that in itself could be dangerous. And then that means you're disempowering yourself when you're bringing those type of thoughts into your relationship or even friendships. It could be any sort of relationship. If you're bringing those type of memories or anchors, like we discussed previously, if that's become an anchor for you, then you definitely need to approach a practitioner or a coach that can work on that with you. And it doesn't take long at all to kind of get away from that. So inshallah, it's just a matter of understanding where that emotion's coming from and what's feeding it.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences within relationships, as I've studied myself and worked with clients, and the same with yourself with regards to learning about how relationships have evolved and changed, and we are keeping it even in line with Deen and with Islam and things like that. So we hope that, this has highlighted some awareness and knowledge. And I just want to thank everybody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Sky TV watching from around the world for participating and taking part in the calls and conversations. And I really want to thank especially my guest today, Farzana Akhter, for her amazing, brilliant mind and insights. And, inshallah, we will, only continue to further our careers by helping more people out there to build better, stronger relationships for themselves and for each other. And this is what the whole aim is. And inshallah, with all the support, we can continue to do that. Thank you so much, Farzana. Thank you so much, all the dear viewers and everybody for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's gone by again so quickly. I do appreciate all the callers. We're not here to judge. We appreciate everything and anything that you need to say. And inshallah, we will continue with the show, and we'll continue with more topics and more guests that are coming in. I just want to say special thanks to all the followers on Instagram as well. And also, please don't forget, if you want to join in to find your spouse, you can definitely join in by, downloading the app, SingleMuslim.com. That would really help you. Inshallah, we will see you on the next show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.